This is still the breakfast show here on Overt Radio. We are broadcasting to you live from the city of Lagos. Lagos is a center of excellence, the city that never sleeps. Yes, it is the political update here, the political update segment on Overt Radio. And what I have this morning is I will be talking about the election of Senegal President Bassirou Diomaye Faye, who has been elected as chairman of the Authority of Heads of State and Government of the Economic of West African States, ECOWAS, succeeding Sierra Leone President Julius Maada Bio, at the bloc's 69th ordinary session held in Lungi, Sierra Leone. Faye's election places him at the helm of the 15-member regional bloc for the next year, for 1 year, during a period marked by political transition, security challenges, and renewed efforts to strengthen regional economic integration across West Africa. In another significant development for Senegal, General Birame Diop, the country's former Minister of the Armed Forces, was elected President of the ECOWAS Commission for the 2026 to 2030 term. His appointment marks the first time Senegal has secured the Commission's top executive position since ECOWAS was established in 1975. Diop succeeds Gambia diplomat Umar Toure, who has led the commissions since 2022. Speaking after his election, Faye described the appointment as a responsibility that comes with the confidence of fellow West African leaders and pledged to work towards a stronger and more united sub-region. He said, and I quote, "It is with humility that I welcome the trust placed in our country called to the presiding presidency of ECOWAS," Faye said. He expressed appreciation that the heads of state and government for the conference reposed in Senegal and congratulated Diop on his emergence as president of the ECOWAS Commission. "I thank my peers, head of state and government for this mark of trust, and for the spirit of fraternity and presided over our work. I congratulate General of the Army Birame Diop, elected to the presidency of the Commission, and assure him of my full support." According to the Senegalese presidencies, Faye's leadership of ECOWAS will prioritize collective security, number one, economic sovereignty, and renewed commitment to the ideals upon which the regional organization was founded. The 46-year-old leader also reaffirmed his commitment to strengthening regional cooperation, saying he would work with member states to build a reconciled and united West Africa capable of addressing common political, economic, and security challenges. Founded in 1975, ECOWAS remains the principal regional economic and political organization in West Africa, promoting economic integration, democratic governance, peace, and security among its member states. Faye's emergence comes as the bloc continues efforts to restore stability across the region while deepening economic cooperation and institutional reforms. Few years ago, the West African bloc, now that's that. Well, I want to say a very big congratulations to Faye, the president of Senegal, for being elected as the chairman of ECOWAS, at least for the next year. Now, I was happy. I was excited that Faye, who is just 46-year-old, will be given that responsibility to be the chairman of ECOWAS for the next year, and it is also an opportunity for him, to bridge the gap to dialogue. This is what is expected of him now. Because for few years ago, the West African bloc, witnessed a barrage of political instability in Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger Republic. These were three countries where military toppled the constitutional administration as at that time. And if you look at the military heads in these three countries, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger Republic, these are young lads. These are young lads that I feel that Faye will be able to extend, dialogue, because these three countries have pulled out from the ECOWAS, particularly Burkina Faso and Mali. They have pulled out from ECOWAS, and ECOWAS will not be as strong as it used to. That is, if ECOWAS was actually strong, ECOWAS will not be as vibrant as used to, with the exclusion of some countries that have pulled out from the bloc. So what Faye should be thinking at now is to see, yes, it might not be possible to convince, particularly Burkina Faso. It might not be possible for Faye to convince Burkina Faso, in coming back to the fold, but there should be some level of activities, some level of dialogue, some level of continued conversation on the need for countries that have pulled out from the ECOWAS bloc should come back to the bloc, should come back to the community, because it is an economic community of West African states. The most important aim of ECOWAS is community stability, political stability, and also security. So if some countries from the 15 member countries that are in the ECOWAS, there is Benin Republic, Burkina Faso, Cape Verde, Cote d'Ivoire, the Gambia, Ghana, Guinea-Bissau, Liberia, Mali, Niger, Nigeria, Senegal, Togo. Now, if some countries from these 15 member countries have pulled out, from the fold, it will be very difficult to solve this sub-Saharan insecurity that facing the bloc, because Nigeria is one of the worst hits of insecurity from the sub-Saharan bloc, sub-Saharan location. So I call on Faye should ensure that at least, it might not be possible, like I said earlier, it might not be possible for Faye to convince these countries that have pulled out from the bloc to come back immediately, but there should be some level of conversation, there should be some level of dialogue, there should be some level of activity towards the coming back of Burkina Faso and other countries that have pulled out from Mali, that have pulled out from the ECOWAS bloc, because it is necessary. It is necessary. Whatever grievance that Burkina Faso has presented for it to leave the bloc, that Mali has presented leaving the bloc, and other countries that have presented leaving the bloc, it is the responsibility of the ECOWAS chairman to make them to reassure them, give them that reassurance, because this is diplomacy. So I expect Faye to do everything possible. At least you cannot at least it is not something that can be achieved within 1 year of your reign, 1 year of your tenure as a chairman of ECOWAS, but there should be some level of dialogue, some activity towards ensuring that these people, they are back to the bloc. Another thing again that is expected of Faye there is this economic disparity in West Africa. Yes, I may not be opportune to travel outside the country, outside to travel to other West African states, but as an economic community, as an economic bloc, FAYE should ensure that there should be common economic goal for West Africa. Because if you look at West Africa, I stand to be corrected. West Africa, countries in West Africa are one of the countries that are well and naturally endowed with mineral resources. There is gold in South Africa. There is gold in West Africa, lithium in West Africa, diamond in West Africa, crude oil in West Africa. These are resources, mineral resources that the world are, clamoring for. So if FAYE with other countries in West Africa come together and think on how the bloc can harness the mineral resources in West Africa, the continent, the bloc will not be a sovereign. Citizens, populations, and the masses in West Africa should not be poor at all. It is because of the lack of mismanagement of these resources. It is because of the lack of the foresight of our leaders of these 15 member countries. It's because of the lack of foresight by their leaders. That is why West Africa is still being impoverished despite the huge and large amount of mineral deposits in this block. So it is important that Diomaye Faye reaches out to other countries for them to harness, make your mineral resources work for your people. Then it comes to insecurity. I don't know the plans that ECOWAS has in curbing insurgents, in curbing terrorism in the bloc. Nigeria, Mali, Niger, Togo, these countries that are surrounding Nigeria, non-state actors have been able to infiltrate this country. So it is expected that as the new chairman of ECOWAS, it is high time ECOWAS and their member nations, member countries begin to strengthen their economic ties. Because this is a time we need the cooperation of other countries. I'm talking to Nigeria, especially the president of this country. This is a time the president of this country needs to be aggressive in partnership with other West African countries when it comes to security. It is high time President Bola Ahmed Tinubu begin to reach out to other countries, to the neighboring countries in West Africa when it comes to insecurity, because we cannot fight insecurity. Because a major threat, if you take a look at some of the elements, some of the security, some of the non-state actors in this country, these are non-state actors that are coming in from other countries who have sponsors, ISWAP, ISIS, the Al-Shabaab. So I call on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Yes, our president is trying in terms of fighting insecurity in this country, but it is high time we admit that we cannot do this all by ourselves. Yes, the country is partnering, as joint forces with the United States of America, but for how long will this continue? So the new chairman of ECOWAS should look at the security architecture in West Africa and see how this security architecture and see how it can be revamped, and see how it can be it can be reactivated one more time, once again. Because one of the things that these terrorists are looking for is the mineral resources. They want to control the various mineral hotspots in West Africa. Because if there's nothing that is glittering, that is glowing, if there's nothing in West Africa, then why are we still lacking? Why are we still struggling with insecurity in this country, in West Africa? So, bridging the gap with other countries that are falling apart of West African bloc, extending dialogue to them, and also security and economy. These are the things that FAE should be looking at. Then infrastructure and trade barriers and trade barriers. While ECOWAS advocate for free movement of trade, local checkpoints, unacknowledged tariffs at community borders, and a lack of diversified industrial production between nations severely limit intra-regional trade volumes. So this is also another area that I feel the FAE should be able to think about. These are beautiful components that makes up the ECOWAS, and over the years, chairman and president of ECOWAS have not been able to effectively utilize this component of the ECOWAS. So my dream is to see in Nigeria we'll be able to travel to Ghana freely. My dream is to see Senegal be able to travel to Togo, Benin Republic freely without any hindrance. So there should be free trade movement. There should be trade movement between the member countries of the 15 member countries of ECOWAS. How many business owners in Nigeria are exporting their goods and services to other member nations in ECOWAS without hindrance? So there's a whole lot that the ECOWAS leadership need to do. There's a whole lot they need to do. And Dion Faye, which is a very young man, it shouldn't be hard for him to convince other member nations in ECOWAS to align with his. I don't know his dreams and I don't know his vision yet for the ECOWAS, because he was just elected, I think it was yesterday. So in the coming weeks, coming days and months, we'll be able to know what his roadmap is as chairman of ECOWAS in the region. So once again, congratulations to the 46-year-old Senegalese president for emerging, as the chairman of ECOWAS for the next year. I know one at a time, Bola Tinubu, emerged as the chairman of ECOWAS. Then after that, I think Muhammadu Buhari too was also part of that chairmanship, and Goodluck Ebele Jonathan at one time was also part of ECOWAS chairmanship. So we hope that the tenure of Faye will be a distinct tenure, because he's of the younger generation. I'm sure that he knows the pulse of young West African population. He knows what is going on. He knows what the young West African population, what they want. And him being part of the younger generation, he should be able to relate. He should be able to relate, to connect with the pulse of young West Africans here in the West African bloc. All right, Lagos, that is how far I can go this morning here on Overt Radio. This program will be posted on our various social media platform later on, so that you can have one or two things to say about it. Okay, so security, economic ties, political stability, these are the three things that Faye should be able to focus on in the next year, in the next coming year as chairman of ECOWAS in the West Economic Community of West African State. All right, Lagos, that is how far I can go this morning. Don't go anywhere. 10 o'clock, Bukola Olowolafe will be here for the news update here at 10. Don't go anywhere. This is the end of the breakfast show. The breakfast show ends 10 o'clock. So after that, we have morning programs. Ibukun Oshodibe will be here for our program after the